we have Jonathan Sebert. So Jonathan was actually at the grand tournament at the Tacoma Open. This is where they had the orc player. Sorry, I'm scrolling all the way up to the top, so you guys. Grand tournament at the U.S. Open at Tacoma. This is where they had Marshall Peters, this guy, the orc guy that cheated and then, you know, whatever, yellow carded. And then he ended up forfeiting the ticket that he got from winning this event. So, you know, that's good on him for doing what people would consider the right thing. That's pretty cool. But this was another orc player at this event that had a really interesting list that I really wanted to go into. So let's give a look and shout out to my boy. Where did I put him? I was just right here, Jonathan Sebert. So let's take a look at the Jonathan Sebert's list real quick, because this is a different kind of combined arms / versatile tool list that we really just don't get to see, especially in War Horde, where there's actually a lot of weird stuff going on in here. One thing that I said that we lack is kind of shooting, combined arms, small skirmish units, MSU units. Become very, very useful in this meta, Pariah Nexus as a whole this season, and orcs kind of lack a lot of that right now, and we're not doing it really well. So let's see, we have a War Horde list, but that actually has some combined arms shooting potential, right? He called it the Evergreen WAAAGH. So we have a Beast Boss on foot, still great value. I think this is the best place for him. War Horde, that being. We have a Big Mek with Shokk Attack Gun in a War Horde list, right? We all know about this in the Dread Mob, but what about in a actual War Horde list? Then we have a boss Snickrop, a Ghazghkull Thraka, a war boss with Follow Me Lads, and then a Weird Boy, followed by the battle line units, which is one 10-man unit of Beast Snagga boys and one 20-man unit of boys. So that's where I'm assuming the war boss and the Weird Boy goes, and then the Beast boss goes with the 10-man unit of Snagga. 2 trucks, 1 battle wagon, a Kopta unit with all rocket. Tell me what you guys like to run on your Koptas, if you like custom Booster Blaster when you can bring it or not, or if you like to stick to your Kopta rockets. And it's really cool that he actually ended up bringing that. A lot of people sleep on the Koptas, don't bring them. I think it's weird that GW took an AP away from them, and I'm still kind of not over that. Like, GW, why would you make them AP 0? It was actually very useful in their AP 1. Make them a little bit more versatile in that way. But people just don't seem to bring them. I think they're pretty cool. You know, not good for offensive output, but they actually survive, and they could actually survive doing a secondary for you. So that's kind of cool for that. A Flash Gitz unit, 10-man unit of Flash Gitz. Woo! You know, people always ask me how I feel about 10-man units of Flash Gitz. I'll just say what it is. I like 2 5-mans and then a 10-man if I decide to go for the 20. But if I'm just bringing 10, I tend to break that into 2 5-man units. They simply don't really catch my attention for a stratagem type unit. Because I tend to want my Flash Gitz to just kind of jump out in their 5-man units. They have really big bases, get the lines of sight to shoot, got pop, sustain, and lethal, and then there's a chance they might just die after that. So I'm not really looking to use them for Overwatch, but it is an option. And if you're just, you know, War Horde, they can actually fight pretty good, so they become interesting. Maybe if you want to hard as nails to keep them alive, if it's a 10-man unit. But to answer the question, I like 2 5s. Easier to get my lines of sight for each 5-man unit, right? Then we have 3 10-man units of Gretchen, followed by a Luda unit. Oop, my little logo got in the way of that. Sorry, guys. The Luda unit has 2 rockets for the 2 spanners, a Mega Knob unit, 3 of them with twin kill saws, and then 3 Stormboy units. So here you can see we paid the extra points to have 3 units of 3-mans of Mega Knobs with the Ghazghkull Thraka. I do think that third one does give a good amount of durability that you do find useful, because just having 2 of them makes them very easy to kind of work around, do some damage to him, throw a grenade at Makari, take away the bodyguards, and then just selectively try to kill Gaz, or throw a grenade at Makari after you kill both Mega Knobs, and you're like, I could just get rid of him so you don't get a wall banner. So I do think paying for the 3rd Mega Knob does increase the durability enough to be warranted a lot of the time. Not always. Sometimes you really just got to pay for the 2 Mega Knobs. But if you could fit that 3rd Mega Knob in there, it could really, really help you in different scenarios. Maybe even getting in combat a little easier, stuff like that. It does keep it like a 5-man unit, so you don't have to worry about cohesion as bad either. It's not like it becomes a 6-man or something weird. And then 3 Stormboy units. You know, it's funny because I didn't do this all the time before, and I haven't done it in a while, and it's very circumstantial. I can't always recommend this, but I have been using my Storm Boys, especially if you're playing War Horde, to actually run out and advance and charge onto small units a bit more often than I used to. I've always done it against Eldar and stuff like that, but I'm using it more in Nexus, considering that people can't do actions just because they're eligible to shoot. So if I tag something more often, just to stop it from falling back and doing a secondary and all these different things that people don't want, can't do anymore because the restrictions to scoring secondaries, Storm Boys become more interesting for that reason. So this list, the big characteristics of it: Ghazghkull Thraka, big unit of 20 boys, Beast Boss, Battle Wagon, 2 trucks, big brick of Flash Gitz, Storm Boys, and then a Luda Bomb. That Luda Bomb is something that's very interesting that you don't really get to see too often with the Shokk Attack Gun. In this kind of matchup, in this kind of list archetype, I would assume it is coming in from strategic reserves, come off a table edge when you're on an objective and shoot you. But there is some contention that you just want to put it in a truck so you can run over, look at an objective, jump out, shoot at the guys that are on the objective when that time comes. So it's a different look. And you tell me in the comments, do you find this even appealing, right? I'm a person that don't personally find the Deff Koptas too appealing. I already told you I would go for 5-man units and on the Flash Gitz instead of a big brick. And bringing Ludas in something that isn't Dread Mob, therefore I'm not getting my sustained 6s to hit when shooting, makes Ludas quite a bit less appealing to me. On any turn that isn't on the objective and you're shooting with them, you're simply doing nothing. So do you guys think it's worth it, or would you rather just bring 10 more Flash Gitz instead of Ludas and a Shokk Attack Gun? So you let me know what you think. That's kind of the first thing I thought, where I was like, if this is the case here, I might just go for 2 Luda bombs and not even bring the Shokk Attack Gun, not even bring the Ludas. Difference in that point cost, and at least I still get to appreciate the sustained 6s to hit. So that was my thoughts on his list. So let's go look at his actual matchups. Today's sponsor, Baron of Dice. So Baron of Dice has great dice. They have actually enabled us to give these dice out for our paint competitions. So I greatly advise that you go out there. We have a link in the description for 5% discount. That's of course because nobody likes taxes. Shout out to Baron of Dice because they are actually customizing orc dice just for us that you guys will be able to get a hold of, and they look exceptional. So shout out to Baron of Dice. Really appreciate you guys, and I really do suggest you get them. I love the actual texture these dice have. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. For John Sebert during this his run, because you can see my boy had, what is this, 4, 5, 7, 8 games. That's what I thought. So he had 8 games where he went 6-2. So very respectable run, respectable scores all around. So let's take a look at my boys list run through, because this is is it not, guys? A weird combined arms. Tell me how many of you are using your Ludas in your War Horde list, with your Deff Koptas and 3 units of Storm Boys. Sorry about that, guys. So first matchup, we have a Adeptus Custodes list. Adeptus Custodes are one of those matchups, guys, where the missions are really, really important. And you understanding how to kind of tempo the game out is really important. So we have 3 units of Blade Champions, 1 Shield Captain with Dawn Eagle Jetbike with enhancements from the Halls of Armoris. We have 1, 2, 3 Guardian units. All of them have just the Guardian Spears. Okay, just making sure we're not busting out 4 wounds, guys, right? Guardian Spears, 1 unit of Warden, 3 units of Warden, all with the spears as well, prosecutors, and then Lord Inquisitor Draxus. I like this list in the not way that, good for us in that case for the most part. What I mean is what I like this list is when they go a lot of infantry spam, kind of like 3 Wardens, 3 storm battle line units with the Inquisitor. That's a straight up Custoda archetype that you could be aware of and kind of build towards and understand that you have to play against. Each Blade Champion is really good for killing orc characters. Getting in direct fights with them isn't really ideal in this case as well. But the one thing they really do lack, and they do lack this for the most part, and it's always the matchup that you must be considerate of when you're an orc player, is that Custodes struggle to get into you because you have transports. We have transports as the orc player, and that's something just like they have no long range shooting, no ability to kind of pop you. They have to just kind of tag you and bag you and hope that they can just beat you up. When you fall out, they kill you after in a different activation. Therefore, you get good staging potential, something that you're not really used to as an orc player, and you can kind of get the initiative in a different way. Allows you to kind of control the pace of the game and control your rate of attrition if you're understanding that your transports are the key to victory in this sort of matchup. As we look at my boys list, right, you can see here that Deff Koptas, though they are not ideally tough in this matchup, performing the threat to the Custodes players for 100 points, I can kill a couple of you. But I'm really good at also getting your way, jumping into your backfield, flying. That's actually a kind of cool tech piece in this matchup that you could, for the most part, make work. Ghazghkull actually allows you to threaten certain units, like at least one of those guardian units that's on the battlefield that you can appreciate. And this is where I asked you guys, do you think the Shokk Attack Gun actually mattered in this matchup with the Ludas, or would you have rather had a big unit of Flash Gitz? Flash Gitz can still do work in the custodes if you can stop them from just straight up standing on if you can stop them from getting the benefit of cover. So if somehow you could position your Flash Gitz to, not let them get cover until the custodes they shoot, then sure, they can mess them up. But for the most part, they kind of bounce, right? This unit of 20 boys having hard as nails actually has a chance that it might survive for a little bit, get in the way of the custodes, being able to trade on objectives with them. This is a very, very much control the tempo and the pace game where you have to play cagey. And this is I believe my boy Jonathan just played well, because 73 points meant that he played cagey, wasn't going for a really high score, that he was really just trying to score as he could periodically, right? Not giving the custodes the ability to charge you and kind of take up the space and close the distance with you is what you want to control as the orc player. You want to say, I got my transports, I have a small profile, you're not going to kill me with your little stupid spears, I'm going to move around and then go stand an objective here, score my secondary here, run away, get away from you over here, and then go to the other side of the table and score as well here. Deny your objective by just standing on it, not even charging you. That's how you take control of the orc game in that matchup. And transports are the way you do that, right? How you get to the objective to deny the primary on the, on their natural expansion objective is to simply take something that has good OC, stand on there, don't even fight them sometimes, and then deny them, score yours, go for your secondaries, kill their scoring units, kill just some of their guardians, and just let their wardens hang out in open space. But don't let them fill up every objective, guys, because that's when it's game over, when you try to go toe-to-toe with custodes and you let them just kind of like stand with you, go toe-to-toe on the objectives. So then we have his second matchup. So he already started off good in a hard matchup right there, very respectable, right? But that's why his list, our boy Jonathan's list here, went unnoticed, because he didn't get the highest score. He's at like 5th, 43rd, 50th place for Tacoma, and he took 2 losses, but he actually has a pretty strong path to victory here. So in that second game, right away, he's going into Adeptus Sororitas with the Bringers of Flame. So already he's going into some hard matchups here again. We have the Canoness with Iron Surplus of Saint whatever. Canoness with Jump Pack with Fire and Fury, Morgan Fall, and the Shrines of St. Catherine. We have a Battle Sister squad, 2 emulators, very, very versatile, useful little dedicated transports. Castigator, Dominion squad, 3 mortifiers. Oh, sweet. That's pretty interesting. 1 unit of Paragon war suits for Morgan Vol, and then 1 big unit of Seraphim. Okay. So a lot of cross-firing support here between triple castigators and double immolators, right? He can get additional AP. I believe he can ignore cover on that. He can get a bunch of, obviously, melts us up to strength 10. Your heavy bolters can get up to strength 6. These are all very important thresholds when you're going into orcs. Actually having AP on something like a castigator cannon or having access into it because of an immolator really does make a difference. So this is again pretty potent kind of list that he's going into with the Sisters of Battle, you guys. Very respectable matchup that he's had to go into already, and what he's had to deal with, because these are the archetypes and kind of the winning things that people kind of ask for when they're looking at these sisters or custodes. So I kind of want to pull up this immolator to show you guys, because I feel like it's kind of a slept on unit sometimes for newer orc players. I'm like, I swear he did something. So we do have, as I thought, let me swing this over to you, Git. So you guys seeing it? Yes, you are. So we have an emulator sitting at T10. That's for a dedicated transport. So again, at a weird threshold. She has Purge and Cleanse. In your shooting phase, after this model has shot, select 1 unit that is hit by 1 or more of those attacks. Until the end of the phase, the enemy unit cannot have cover. So of course, right here, she can end up giving cover, taking away cover from a unit. And of course, she can always do miracle stuff and be nice and all miracled up, because she's a nice sister type unit. Morgan Vol goes hard to try to take Catherine, giving buffs out like movement buffs. I think she can feel no pains out. The Castigator having a strength 10 autocannon with damage 3. overall, sisters have great damage potential into orcs and all the great profiles. Getting rid of this Custos list. Profiles into orcs, and not even just orcs. I mean, dude, they do everything into everybody. But again, here's our boys list with 20 boys. Wagon, trucks, Flash Gitz, 3 units of Gretchen. I think those 3 units of Gretchen also came into factor against those Custos players as well. Always know that put your grots forward in your Custos list. Put them in your trucks if you have to. Sometimes jump out, standing on those objectives. It becomes very interesting and very annoying for them. So again, you can see that he had to go into some very, very meta, what people would call meta archetypal lists with the Sisters of Battles of Bringers of Flame, with the crossfire of emulators, castigators, dominion squads where they can actually break down. He has a bunch of mortifiers, so he has little skirmishing, and then he brings the Morgan Vol and the Triumph of St. Catherine. That's really all this Bringers of Flame list really is when it comes down to it, with all his damage potential into here. So again, he's showing that, one, he himself, Jonathan, is an excellent player. So shout out to you for figuring out that win as well. But he's going into very hard matches with something that I would consider a typical Orc War Horde list. So now he goes in his third matchup, which we got to see what he actually ended up losing to right after already pulling it off against these weird hard matchups. So then his third matchup, he ends up losing into Chaos Demons. And you know what? That doesn't surprise me, because like I said, you kind of have all the tools for everything as an Orc player right now. And something that we just simply struggle into is a high toughness unit. So we have a Bloodthirster, Renmaster of the Throne, Redmaster again, Scarbrand, Skullmaster, and then the Changeling. We have 1 unit of Bloodletters, 2 units of Blood Crushers, 2 units of Flesh, 3 units of Flesh Hounds, excuse me, and a Skull Cannon. This list is actually quite potent. If you haven't played them before, Blood Crushers are what you can imagine as Squighog boys. The difference is they have a 4-up invuln at all times. They're 4 wounds, and they actually do mortal wounds on the charge. So they hit a little less actual, like, offensively worse than Squigs, but they do mortal wounds, they charge. They're a bit different, more reliably durable. So this is really, really potent, especially because they can come in and do 6-inch deep strikes on you with demons, and kind of just take you to that stat check land where orcs are really struggling. So like always, we always have a certain archetype that we struggle into as orcs right now, whether it's a strict 2+ armor save type of army, or if it's a strict big toughness army. And in this case, my boy lost to a high toughness army. Nothing to be ashamed of, even though demons are known for being a super potent army. The right demon player, and especially with, in my opinion, that corn build's really, really potent, just because they can take the initiative and just blow your orc units away and kick the crap out of you. You know, that's nothing to be ashamed of for losing, to be honest. That corn list is really, really solid. I would say if it had more Blood Crushers, it'd be even more solid. So let's look at his fourth matchup. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going into another Sisters of Battle, Bringers of Flame again. So my boy has to go into Sisters, Custodes with max infantry spam, and then demons with corn. So let's look at this Sisters list. He has Morgan Vol, Triumph of St. Catherine. Okay, so he doesn't bring the Canoness, the fighting Canoness, or the other support Canoness. Okay, but you're always going to see Morgan Vol in the Triumph, guys. Just be aware of them. Battle Sister Squad, again, double immolators like I showed you earlier. 2 castigators, a Dominion, another Dominion squad. If these girls can battle squad, combat squad, so they can break into small units. So 1 unit can have all the meltas, and the other one has all the trash. Exorcist, another pretty solid gun platform, guys. And I believe they have indirect too. Then we have the Paragon Warsu, Seraphim, and Sisters Novitiates. In this matchup again, he did overcome them. The one thing about Sisters, in my opinion, especially if you're dealing with them, from what I've seen and what I've had to deal with, is pressure on Sisters of Battle is a big factor when you're going up to them as a Orc player. If you just stay back and allow them to beat you up on damage, they will. You have to know that they are going to take their chunk of flesh out of you based off where you disembark from your transports, based off your staging areas, based off you having, how much control you're willing to have, and how much little bit of screening they have on their list really doesn't matter, right? If you can start tagging these transports and shooting away, a Novitiate Sister Squad, shooting away a Seraphim Squad with your Flash Gitz, shooting away these these Dominion sisters, you can really just pressure sisters into their own deployment zone or their side of the table, and that really does become killing them, because even a diminished orc unit can take them out. Jonathan got 94 with this list. I think having Flash Gitz, having Ludas actually, surprisingly, might have actually played a little bit of into that win. Even Beast Snaggle boys too, right? When you get on the wall with a couple Beast Snaggle boys, some of them are dead, but the rest aren't. Man, you're just picking sisters. You know, and you know, it's kind of funny because sisters can really just beat the crap out of a battle wagon, though. But it will take a lot of, you know, crossfire, and it will take them all to kind of pile up. That's the last thing I want to say about sisters too, is when you do go into this kind of sister archetype, understand where they have the castigators, immolators trying to crossfire each other, and they're getting those same angles of fire into your one battle wagon. Just know it's going to take several different activations from them. Sisters, the better the sizzle player's a battle is, the more she'll know how to like have different cross sections of fire and support fire from one thing to shoot a different target. And then, you know, if she ends up blowing this up too early, she gets to do something else. That's fine. But all in all, what I'm saying is they'll be bunched up. So just know that once they take their pound of flesh out of you, it's very much behoove of you as an arc player to go touch those transports, those tanks as quickly as possible. Because that's really your time to shine before they can spread out and then do it again and execute their big wombo combo killing. So if they're a bit too, you know, scary, spooked, which they a lot of the time are as sisters of battle players, it's up to you as the orc player to just be pressure, take your lumps, and then get in there and punch them and get them stuck in. So great job to Jonathan, because it looks like he obviously did that. So let's take a look at his 5th game. He went into Luke with his Necrons Hypercrypt. It's funny because War Horde actually can really handle Hypercrypt and Necrons as a whole, but it is a tough one. And yeah, so is Steve Goodrich. Yeah, sisters are a tough one. And our boy took out 2 sisters of battles already in like the first 5 rounds of the game. So that's of the event. So that's him. He had a hard win path, or player path to victory. So he's going into Necrons here. He has double Chronomancers, 2 Catons, 1 the Nightbringer, 1 the Void Dragon, a Hexmark Destroyer, an Overlord, and a Skorpek Lord, followed by 2 units of Immortals, a Flayed one, Lich Guard, Monolith, and Skorpek Destroyer. Ooh, so here you can see one thing this guy definitely lacked is all the little stupid destroyers that can drop in your backfield. He doesn't have as many of the destroyers. Like you can have multiple of these Hexmark destroyers. One of them's enough, I guess, in this case. But having a bunch of different units that can drop in your backfield and be really annoying with Hypercrypt is how you kind of pull orcs apart and constantly keep scoring. If they don't have this, if they're trying to stat check you with something like Catons, which orcs can actually deal with a lot of volume of 1, destroyers where we could take them down with fighting on death or just getting the initiative on them, leaving the Monolith not in a rage of something like a Gas, when Gas can just jump on it and do come into play. So as soon as that Necron player messes up, you know, he's gone. Just know these Immortals are very killing when it comes to the Chronopancers. They can get their crit 5 pluses. Very potent, but it's up to you as the orc player to also be aware that these guys lack the ability to pop your transports again. Like I always say, that is a factor. So you're going into Custodes, you're going into Necrons, right? The Monolith can pop them maybe, but that's 375 points to maybe pop one of your transports. When in reality, you know, he's going to have to pick it up and put it somewhere where he can pop it. That's where you should be set up so you can respond and pop him. You know what I'm saying? So linear movement is suggestion with the name of this list. Yes, it was Necron. And he did winning that one with the 78-point win. You can see he's getting into the big boy games here with his 5th battle round. Make sure that was 5th battle, right? Make sure I knocked that up. Yeah, he was against Luke. Yeah, make sure I messed that up, guys. Sometimes I'd be getting all over the place. Now we have his 6th matchup, which he did end up losing this one. So this was his 2nd loss, which is his only other loss because he took 2. He went into Blood Angels. And I would say in this reason he lost, man, why he wouldn't want lost right off the bat. Where your knobs, bro? Where your knobs? Huh? No, I'm just kidding. Not saying you have to bring knobs, but just typically, you bring knobs. So we have Blood Angels, Sons of Sanguinius. Very annoying, right, guys? Everybody knows that +2 strength, really makes a difference. Takes them to different thresholds. Their chainsaws get to strength 6 and their power fist to 10. Those are really important for orc. So we have a captain, chaplain with the jump pack, La Martis, and a Sanguinor. Interesting, he doesn't have the priest, because the priests give the 5 of feeling pain. So we have a assault intercessor squad. Like we said, because they're in Sons of Sanguinius, these guys get up to strength 6 with those chain swords. That's freaking sick for them. Yeah, sucks for us. We have an impulsor, a rhino. I think impulsors are slept on, in my opinion. I don't think they're amazing, but I do think they're pretty solid. Impulsor, rhino, assault intercessor with jump pack, He has 3 of those. Like we said, those guys can get up to strength 7 with their chainsaws. What? And they're, you know, putting their mortal wounds into you with their shoulder bumps. 1 5-man unit of Death Company Marines. Sorry, 2 of them. 2 units of Death Company Marines, followed by 2 10-man units of Death Company with jump packs, 2 scout squads, and a Cladius Assassin. Boy! You know, the Cladius Assassin in this case, she can actually position also, because the Blood Angels are the ones that can actually take the initiative from you. And when there's that one exchange where you want to fight on death, you want to unbridle carnage, you want to do all these things, you want to hard as nails, you just can't do all these different stacking abilities because of her on the one go turn. And he has a bunch of different units that are go turn between their jetpacks. And I do like that he has a couple of 5-man units of Death Company that are on foot. That's going inside these transports and stuff. All in all, this is a pretty tough and very potent Blood Angels list, right? He has scouts for his first turn screening, you know, pre-deployment, stuff like that. And then he has the Sanguinor, Lamartis to be super killy, and then several captain support for all the different units. So overall, this is a very potent Blood Angels list. I think he does lack the tools. My boy Jonathan's list would lack the tools for this because he just has like a 20-man unit of boys that pretty much has to eat all those assault intercessor punches. You know, Koptas aren't really killing anything. Flash Gitz are hopeful to kill something at least. In this case, you might want to hope to overwatch with them, but I wouldn't even recommend it. Ludas, you know, if they don't stand on an objective, that's that one thing that against Blood Angels, you have that one potent turn where you call a WAAAGH, you get stuck in with the Blood Angels, game's over. And if they're not standing on an objective, your Ludas didn't do anything, they didn't participate at all to the game. And that's kind of how I would see that Blood Angels game going. You do kind of have the transports, again, like I said, versus you know, versus custodes or other armies that can't really pop your transports. They can be helpful to you, but if you can't take the initiative from the enemy just because of transports, because then it doesn't help you enough sometimes, especially on that go turn when the Clady Assassin can really mess you up. So shout out to him. 74-point loss isn't, you know, anything bad, but you know, it is what it is. And then he has his 7th game. Yep. Ooh, he put up 100 there, boy. You guys seen that? Put up 100. Let's see what he put 100 on. 100 against Imperial. Nice. Yeah, he was like, we're not having none of that. So he has the Knight Lancer. He has 1, 2, 3 Knight Lancers. Oh, this is skew hard. 2 Helverins, 2 Warglaves, Clady's Assassin. Boom. So pretty much Knights running up, trying to charge you, trying to get stuck in against fighting against a War Horde list with Gaz. That's simply just not going to go their way. 100 points. That'll make you feel good on the comeback, right, guys? You know, the skew got this far, so he was doing something right. He was running people over, just not going to run in the orcs over him. And then last but certainly not least, we have his last matchup with was Demons again. But this isn't Demons, Corn Demon spam. So let's see how it goes. You have Bloodthirster. He has a Demon Prince with wings. He has a Great Unclean One and a Red Master's Throne, followed by Nurglings, Plague Bearers, Beasts of Nurgles, 2 Blood Crushers, Flesh Hounds, and then 2 War Dog Brigands. The War Dog Brigands are there just because, like I said, people hate not being on the pop transports. In this case, having a lot of smaller units does help the orc player. Just saying it. Like Plague Bearers, and the Demon Prince with wings who are going to get involved. Be a little bit easier to kill than having to kill several big coin great unclean, not great unclean ones, coin greater demons. The Great Unclean One can get killed in this actual matchup. The best way to kill him in this matchup is not that I would say you necessarily want to go into him because he does have the 4 Feel No Pain, but if you can't delay him, block him off, for any of these demons, the best way to really kill them in this matchup would be when you do call wall and you get Unbridled Carnage and you take that 10-man unit of Beast Snagga Boys and you re-roll the hit roll. You fish for the lethals and the dev wounds in that case, to lethal 5+ in this case, and just volume out some of those greater demons. That'd be very, very helpful. I typically ignore the Great Unclean One if I can and kill everybody else. Once you do that, he's very slow and not really super killy. The Blood Crushers are the big issue here. Do not let them get that 6-inch deep charge off you, boy. But it seems like Jonathan learned from that one, got a 91-point win, so he learned from his last Demon's loss. Great job to Jonathan. Let's take a look at what I want to call a combined arms Blood War Horde list, because he has a Beast Boss on foot, a Big Mek with Shokk Attack Gun, Boss Snickrock, Ghazghkull Thraka, War Bosses Follow Me Lads, Weird Boy, a 10-man unit of Beast Snagga Boys, a 20-man unit of boys, 2 trucks, a battle wagon, 3 Deff Koptas with rockets, a 10-man unit of Flash Gitz, 3 minimum size units of Grot, a 10-man unit of Ludas with rockets on the spanners, 3 Mega Knobs with twin kill sauce, and then 3 Storm Boy units. So love to see it. Great job to our boy Jonathan Sebert. Whoa for Jonathan. I really like that list, combined arms. If you enjoyed the clip, check out the full video here. If you'd like to see more tactics, click here.
Let's get stuck in, lads!